Hey everybody! Happy Monday night, everyone. I'm gonna just talk about a few leisurely things until we get started and until people get on here and hopped on and they know that I'm on and that I'm live. I'm doing the broadcast through my Bluetooth, so let me know if you can hear. Hey George, can you hear the audio okay? Just let me know. Hey Kathleen. Hey Mary. Let's see. Hey Casey. You guys holler and let me know if you can hear the audio okay. Yes, it is it's a good Monday. Hey Missy. How are you? Hey Pam. Miss you, girl. Hey Melissa. Say hi to Cleo for me. I guess everybody's able to hear me. Hey Kyla. Um, One thing I want to say, hey Shay, kisses Shay, and thanks for taking care of my friends this weekend at Scarefest, Shay. That was really nice of you, and they got good readings, and I appreciate that. So everybody says it sounds good, so that's wonderful. Okay, before we get started on tonight's topic, I want to go over the weekend. I am doing the self-healing with gemstones this weekend. It's online. Hey, John. Hey, Amanda. It's online. You can get a ticket to this private seminar from the comfort of your own home and help me explore self-healing with gemstones on Saturday from 11 to 12. So that's going to be a lot of fun. This is something new I'm going to try. And it is kind of designed for all the people who live too far away to come in for a seminar, but they still want to get that personal experience of asking me questions and us working together on things. So I feel like it's going to be really positive. Hey Loretta, how are you doing? Thanks for the hugs, everybody. I get so excited when I see thumbs and hugs going across here. So tonight, hey Angie, we're going to talk about black-eyed children, and I've been waiting for this for quite a while. So let me just give you some of the background on black-eyed children, and if you have any experiences with this, or if you have read anything about that, hey Haley, my little niece, welcome. Just chime in and let me know what you think. So black-eyed children are relatively a new phenomena that has occurred within the last 15 years. Hey Mallory, and the first documented evidence or report of black-eyed children was back in 1998 by a Texas reporter, Brian Bethel. And he reported this as a ghost-related incident, but then they started finding that black-eyed children were more and more prevalent, and people started coming up with their own reports of black-eyed children. So David has a comment. Evil little black-eyed children, exciting subject. Yes, it is. So what are they exactly? We're just going to kind of look into this and see what we think they are. I did write down the similarities of all the reports, and then I'm going to read you a story of what happened to a person that actually let the black-eyed children into their home. So, hey Braxter, hey Evan. Evan says they're hybrids. I'm giving that a thumbs up because that's kind of one of my feelings about it. So the similarities, let's go into the similarities of what all the accounts have in common. Okay, so they're always in pairs. These black-eyed children are always in pairs. The age grouping is always from ages of 5 to 10. 5 to 10 years of age. There are not really that many accounts of teenagers involved with this. They do have flat statements, and the speech is mainly by one of the pairs. The speech sounds rehearsed and melodical, and some of the most frequently used phrases are the following. Can we use the phone? Can we use the restroom? Can we have something to eat? Can you give us a ride? Can we come in, or let us in, or you must let us in? And statements of this will not take long, and also our parents are on the way. When questioned further, these black-eyed children will keep repeating, our parents are on the way, or our parents are coming. Often the adults that encounter these black-eyed children feel like they're under a state of hypnosis after talking to these black-eyed kids for a couple of minutes. And we're getting some comments. Let me see on here. Evan Ansat says, alien human, gray human. Evan, that was kind of a comment that, let me go back, David, and that's that hybrid. Yes, I think so. Braxter has a comment, demonic, questionable. I was thinking, Braxter, that demonic might fit, but then a few of the accounts that people were reporting about what happened after that they let the children in kind of led me away from that demonic thought. Mari says, no, they can't come in, forget that. Heck no, I'm not letting them in. But the other thing about letting them in is that most often they will appear at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. is a big time for these encounters to happen, especially when someone is home alone at night. Hey, Matthew. So another thing that the adults that are encountering these children, when they are under this hypnotic suggestion from the words that these creatures are speaking, some of them don't snap out of it right away, and others do. So, and after the encounter, they're noting that these creatures will disappear suddenly. And it's first noted by the person who encounters them that the subconscious or the gut feeling takes over and elicits that fight or flight response that something is wrong. And that is what leads people to look at the eyes and discover that they're almond shaped and black and glassy. So let me see, we're getting some more comments here. Hey David, hey Lana, and hey Lana. Let's see who's saying, okay, Shay has a comment. Seems as though a lot of things happen between 1:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. Yes, they do. I'm giving you a thumbs up for that. A lot of things happen during that time frame. A lot of people pass on during that time frame, and a lot of the dead will communicate and do mediumship with people in their dreams during that time. My theory on this is a portal that opens, and somehow these black-eyed children are using that portal for this encounter with a human. Now, I don't know what they are for sure, and that's what we're kind of discovering with each other right now. But next week, I am going to do portals and vortexes. And this is kind of, we're working towards Halloween, so I wanted the themes to be kind of Halloween-ish. And so portals and vortexes kind of go right with this, because that's what I feel like, Shay, that time period is from 1:30 to 3:30 is a portal. So Braxter says, guess they need your invitation. That's another common thing that is in all the reports, is they will beckon these people to let us in. You must let us in. And so, yes, they do need permission to enter either the car or the home. So most of the reports are encounters of trying to get into the car or get into the house. Hey, Ariana. Hey, Angie. Let's see. Amanda has a comment. Do people lose time after speaking to them? This was one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and it's kind of in the story that I'm going to read to you here in a few minutes, is people don't report lost time, but because they're under this hypnotic influence, I feel like the best thing for them to do is to have certified hypnotherapists take them back to that moment and see if there are missing minutes that hold the key to the encounter. I think that that would be very advantageous in obtaining information to exactly what they want, because some of the encounters that I read and studied, the black-eyed children, let's say they wanted to come in and go to the restroom. Then they go to the restroom, suddenly the power goes out in the house, and then they leave or disappear very suddenly. So my question is, there may be minutes there that people aren't aware that they've lost, that something happened. You can only regain those minutes or that information through hypnotherapy and access to the unconscious or the non-conscious mind, where those memories are going to be stored. So let me scroll down through here. Mari has a comment, are they like a succubus? It does seem to me that in these reports, people are having electrical or auric disturbances after they have an encounter with these black-eyed children. So electrical nervous system problems like dizziness, vertigo, even nervous system problems, strokes, nosebleeds, those are from hypertension. So these are the type of things that are happening after these encounters with black-eyed children. So Shay says the veil may be thinner than as well as a portal. The veil, actually what we're going through right now, Shay, is what I call the death portals. And they're open from the 7th of September until March. And so what happens during that time frame is a lot of people whose energy and aura is not really strong will have severe illnesses, be diagnosed with new cancers, and they will have like a pull on their spiritual self to pass on. So what you're going to find is these people are always having health problems at this particular time of year. And at this particular time of year, a lot of people are passing on, and I think we've kind of noticed that in a lot of deaths lately. So that is the death portal time frame. So when we say the veil is thinner, all of these dimensions are intermingled, people are leaving, and a lot of things can come in also. And I think that these black-eyed children, this is that time of year for them. So Angie Gray has a comment. I wake up sometimes sick, and it's always between 2 and 3 a.m. It's happened a lot in the last few months. Could this be related? That is highly possible. It could very well be related, Angie. What I would suggest, and since this is one of those auric energy type of problems, Angie, I would suggest that you go to Blue Lotus Acupuncture and see Ramon the Correga. He's the practitioner there. He's very good at dealing with this kind of thing, and I think that he could help you balance that energy and not wake up so drained and sick during that time frame. As always, with any kind of advice I get, seek medical professional help first and use these other therapies as complementary. So hey Carrie, so Mary has another comment. I'm never asleep during those times. My cats are going nuts during these periods of time. And cats are very sensitive to increases in the electromagnetic field. So it could be that you have some things going on there around you at that time. Hey Susan, and she has a comment. Are there hot spots or just random? Right now, from what I can tell, Susan, it's just random. But it's in more heavily populated areas that the accounts of these black-eyed children are happening. So like if you lived way out in Alaska, there aren't very many accounts like in really rural areas. It's mostly more populated areas. So Evan has a comment. Their eyes are sensitive to light, so it's always dark when they arrive. The time frame that most of the encounter reports were giving me is from midnight until 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was the time frame that I saw. Most of the accounts were from midnight until 2 a.m. So let's see. Hey, Connie. Amanda has they're draining energy. Yes, the accounts report that people are feeling very drained after encountering these creatures. So, and that's what's kind of causing all the nervous system problems that people have after the encounter. So now I want to read you real quick what happens when you see or let them in. What happens when you let them in? So this, bear with me and I'll go back and look at the comments, but this is an account of what happened when somebody let these children in. Another thing that's really prevalent about these children is they're dressed in old-fashioned clothing. They have old-fashioned bowl haircut or straight haircut, um, male female type of clothing and hair styles that are very old fashioned, so they stand out. They don't appear as normal children. So this person, here's her account. It was around 2 o'clock in the morning at this point. So the only reasonable thought in my head was that there must have been an accident or these kids got lost. As much as my instincts told me not to bring them inside, I did it anyway. I went to the kitchen to make them some hot cocoa while my husband took them into the living room. While I was fixing the kettle, I could hear my husband talking to the kids. He was asking them if they were okay and where they came from or how far they walked. Now, mind you, this was at 2 a.m. in the winter in the snow. They both spoke in a sing-songy voice. They weren't afraid to be in a stranger's home at all. I started to notice that our cats, we had 4, were all hiding except one who was in the kitchen with me. Normally, our cats are very curious and friendly, and we have to be careful they don't run out of the door when we leave. This time, none of them even tried to see who was with what I thought was very strange. All of the hair on the one cat's neck was standing up and his tail was puffed up when he looked into the living room. When I bent down to pet him and see what was wrong, he hissed and started growling and backed up. So we're finding that also the pets are highly affected by the presence of these black-eyed children. When I walked back into the living room, the kids were sitting on the couch as still as can be, but my husband was holding his head in his hands. When I asked him what was wrong, he just said that he felt dizzy, and all of a sudden he was fine. I turned back to the children to give them their cocoa, but when they looked at me, I gasped. It took everything inside of me not to drop the mugs and run away. When they looked at me, their eyes were completely black. They had no whites, just giant pupils. When they saw that I was scared, they stood up and asked if they could use the bathroom. I tried to be as composed as I could and showed them down the hall. When they went to the bathroom together, I hurried back to my husband to see if he was okay. He had seen their black eyes also. So what happens after that is her husband's nose started to bleed, which he never had nosebleeds before. At that point, I just knew inside myself that this had something to do with the kids in the bathroom, and I started to cry. When I ran to get my husband some tissues, that's when the power went off. And there are a lot of accounts of when confronted, these black-eyed children, when they're confronted, the power does get knocked out of either the car or the home. So the power is out, and she suddenly sees the black-eyed children at the end of the hall. Okay, so the power was out for a half an hour. The next thing that happened is the black-eyed children immediately said, "Our parents are here," and went straight for the front door, opened the front door, went out the front door, and left the front door open. When they looked out of the front door, the husband and wife, they discovered that there was a car at the end of the driveway, a black car, with 2 men dressed in black and the engine running, that had the door open for the children got into the car, and the car drove away. So now the woman and her husband are having nosebleeds on a regular basis, and nervous system problems, and strange cancers. So, and this is in more than one. The reports are really, really shockingly close together. Let's see what the other comments are since I've been reading that little story to you. Hey, Sandra. Okay, Chantal. Hey, Chantal. She has a really good question. I hope I'm not asking something you covered already, but did anyone ever try to touch or hug them? Not in any of the accounts, Chantal, because when they are encountering these creatures, there is the elicited this fight or flight response in the person, which they are tempted to let the kids in or let them in the car, but they're having this inner conflict about something being wrong. So they're not feeling open and connected to these creatures to try to touch them or give them a hug. I haven't read any accounts of people actually touching them or trying to hug them yet. So that would be probably something we would want to discover further. The other thing is that when encountering these creatures, the adults are becoming entranced or hypnotized, and they're unable to move. So there's no physical interaction with these kids. But that is an excellent question, and I didn't notice any physical contact being reported. So Shay has a comment, are they messengers? That was another thing that I was thinking about, Shay, but a couple of accounts and reports give these incidents of these black cars with these other black dressed men waiting for the kids after they have the encounter with the humans. I'm just going to say creatures and humans because we don't really know what they are yet. So if they're messengers, why do they need to get into a car with two men dressed in black? I'm really leaning towards hybrids. I'm really leaning towards hybrids on that account. So Christina Bailey has a comment, why do they come in the form of children? The same reason, Christina, that demons come in the form of children so many times. And that is why I am so very wary of anyone who calls me with a child haunting, because 9 times out of 10, it is not a true child haunting. Demons present as this, and other things can present as this, because an adult naturally has their guard down with encounters with a child. So they don't have that. Think about 2 a.m., you answering the door, you can see a child there versus an adult. If you see a child there, you're going to be conflicted with scariness and also concern for the child. What are they doing here at 2 a.m.? If it was an adult, you would automatically have your block up, Christina. You would automatically be, I'm not connecting with this until I figure out what's going on. So I think to have your natural blocks down, somehow they intelligently know that they have to appear as this type of apparition to gain trust and to gain entry. And it's portraying a degree of vulnerability. So Evan says radiation burns. Okay. Evan, go into that a little bit more in detail, the radiation burns in regard to what exactly, and I'll help you with that. So David says, we are so soft and want to help children. Yeah, because, we are protectors of children. We raise our children and we watch over our children, and it is a natural response to want to protect and to nurture children. Hey, Michael, how are you? Evan says sympathy. Yes, that elicits that sympathetic response also. So Shay has a comment. That's how every terrible movie starts, with our bleeding hearts. I'm giving you a thumbs up for that, because vulnerability is one of the key attributes of an attack. So, hey Christina, nice to see you. And let's see what other. Hey Regina, thank you for tuning in. Hey Christina. So Shay says it's not human feeling for me. I would think hybrid too. Yeah, so the black cars with the guys dressed in black kind of lend me to the hybrid uh, part of this. And it could be that these creatures are escaping wherever they're being quarantined, and then they have the encounter with the humans. Or there could be something more sinister behind it, because we really don't know if these encounters, if people are losing 5 minutes, and a lot can happen in 5 minutes. So I would really like to see some hypnotherapy done on these people, to see exactly, minute by minute, what exactly happened. Hey, Christy Osborne. So Christina says, that's scary. I love children and it's my weakness. It's all of our weaknesses, but we have key things to go by. We have a time frame that they appear in, 12 to 2. They always occur in pairs. Their statements are disconnected and seem rehearsed, okay? And also they have the same occurring statements. Let us in. You must let us in. We must come in. Can you give us a ride? Can we have something to eat? Can we go to the restroom? This won't take long. You must let us in. So we have some similarities that we can be aware of and try to protect ourselves by using those. So Tracy Lynn, hey, how are you? She has a comment. Hybrids is what I feel. There are more beings here, I believe, than we know of or willing to accept the thought of. I quite agree with you, Tracy. I'm leaning towards the hybrid theory on this. But if they are hybrids and they are being quarantined in a certain area, and then they're either being sent out or escaping, I'm more leaning towards they're being sent out, because as soon as the people let them in, or they let them in their cars, there's this feeling of dread with the human, and all of a sudden the creature disappears and they're just gone. So my thought is something has happened, and there are lost minutes, but we just don't have the information on that. So Evan says, follow your intuition, don't let them in. Absolutely. And I think that's why, that is one of the main reasons why this lady put her story on the internet, is because she wanted people to be aware of what happened to her and her husband when they did let them in. So hey Jessica, hey Arthea, hey Sandra. Sandra has a comment. I don't know or remember why, but they terrify me. I can't even look at their likenesses. I think that their likenesses are sort of subconsciously abhorrent. It's a representation of subconscious evil. The black soulless look to the eye. And we've always said, and it's an old saying, the eyes are the windows of the soul. And so to have that completely black lends to a soulless type of creature, which also kind of goes along with the rehearsed speech and the melodical hypnotizing statements. So let me see if there are any other comments. Hey Joy, Melissa says, are they similar to parasites looking for a host? That is my feeling. There's some kind of energy exchange that happens. And this answers Christina's next question. What do you think that they want? There's some kind of energy exchange that happens, because people in the accounts of letting them in are 90% of them are having new onset of cancers and nervous system problems after the encounters with these creatures. So I think it is like an energy drain, or it's like a parasite taking the energy. So Susan McCreary, hey, how are you? Has a comment. Is it known for them to revisit? Sounds like they are infecting humans, so we may be experiments. That's one thing I didn't notice in the research that I did, Susan, but that's a very good question. That will be something that I'll be investigating. Recurrent accounts. Most of the accounts were singular that I found, and I think because the people that had encounters with these creatures were devastated health-wise afterwards, did not have a successive encounter with these creatures. I think because they were drained and there wasn't anything left for these things to take from them. So, but I will look and see if there are any recurrent encounters. Michael has a comment. I believe if I was to encounter a child with black eyes at 2 a.m. in the morning, I would more than likely have a heart attack. I probably would too, Michael. This is extremely scary. Shay has another comment. It almost seems like they are doing work for someone. Maybe they have to fulfill an energy contract where they mess with the life force of humans. Maybe they have to feed someone or something that they, let me see more, that they work for. This is entirely possible too, because the statements that they make to the people that have these encounters with them is, one of the things that they say a lot is, don't worry, our parents are on the way, or our parents are coming, or our parents will be here soon. So what is the parent? That's another question that I have. Of course, in the one encounter that I read you, it was simply the car and the two gentlemen dressed in black that were waiting for the kids. So that doesn't fit with parents. So Evan has another Melissa, bingo, energy parasites. Yes. We know for sure that they mess with your energy field. We know that for sure. So hey Tiffany, hey Tracy. So Christina says, oh, good theory, Shay. Yes, absolutely. Thumbs up on that. Sonia has another comment. I've heard that they knock 3 raps. Yes, they either knock 3 raps. Sonia, good point. Thumbs up for you. Or they ring, ring, ring the doorbell 3 times. That is pretty creepy to me. So Kyla says, this is new to me. This is a paranormal phenomena, Kyla, that's only been accounted since the last 15 years. We know of the first account being somewhere around 1998. And that first account was written by Texas reporter Brian Bethel. He encountered actually 3 of the black-eyed children outside of his car at 2 a.m. when he was leaving his job, I believe. So let's see if we have any more comments. Let me check our time. We're almost out of time. David says this subject could go on and on. It is very exciting. It is. Michael has a comment. I would only think that darkness only follows the demonic, and like any demonic energy, you would begin to feel drained not only physically but emotionally. Yes, absolutely. And if you're an empath, it would be completely draining or drained to you. To me, it only seems plausible that it is demonic, so stay away. They're not out for anything good, that's for sure. I was leaning towards more of a demonic thing, Michael, but then a lot of the accounts had the children disappearing into dark cars with people dressed in black clothing. That kind of made me think more about hybrid rather than demonic. But since, this is such a new phenomena that we don't know for sure. What we need to do is we need more accounts, more reports, and we need to have these people undergoing some type of hypnosis so we know what happens each minute that they are having that encounter. Hey Linda, so Christina has a comment. There's a difference between being gullible and being aware. They seem to be more prevalent in the last number of years. When you have encountered someone or something like this, you may be more susceptible. If you reflect on the occasion, you will become aware of what's happening. The reflection, very good point. I'm going to give you a thumbs up for that, Christina. And the reflection is almost like it's a precursor to having that hypnotherapy done, where you reflect back on each and every moment and you analyze it. That's why I think hypnotherapy would be so awesome with these incidents, at looking at exactly what happens minute to minute. So Michael has another statement. Looking into the lesser keys of Solomon, these entities are energy-draining beings with only one option: to deplete the host or person of energy before the great encounter. So to me it would be, it is only leading up to a greater encounter. Yes, that's another concern that we have in encountering these creatures. Hey, Heather. And Joy has a comment. What about the watchers you spoke of before? Could these kids be helping them? That's highly possible, but then my question is, why do they need cars to drive in? That's sort of, that lends more to, I don't know, maybe hybrid alien type of thing. Chantel says, it would be interesting to see how quickly the car disappears or where it goes. In the reports and the accounts that I read, the car drives off very quickly. It disappears very quickly from sight. And it's almost like they can't watch the car for very long after it leaves. So there may be a portal there. I'm not sure. But that's one of the things that I'm thinking. Christina says evil is always attracted to good. Yes, absolutely. And we're out of time for tonight. Thanks you guys for tuning in and talking with me about these black-eyed children. Please don't let any of them in. If anybody rings your doorbell at midnight or 2, just call the police or get your firearm. So in successive weeks here, next week we're going to do hexes and curses. And then closer to Halloween, we're going to do portals and vortices. And then I probably even closer to Halloween, and I'll have to do this on the road, so you guys will have to bear with me on my reception and whatnot. But in and around Halloween, I'm going to do, the topic will be possession and oppression. That'll be good. So thanks you guys for watching. Kisses from Kentucky. Love you all, and I'll see you next Monday night. Bye-bye.